Welcome to the Reporters Square Table presented by Lending Tree Lottery Edition. I'm Matt Rochinski from Hornets.com, and I know that every one of us is excited to get to this. But first, we have to introduce the guests that we have here and make sure everybody knows who we have on. We've got Sam Perley from Hornets.com, as well as Wes Robinson joining us from Hornets.com today, his debut on the Square Table. And we've got Chris McClain from WFNZ. We'll call him Mac going forward. That's what everyone knows him by. But we got to give him that first title, when we first start things off here. So what a great night last night. Let's just start there. First, the Hornets Venom GT goes out and wins their first playoff game. Not sure if everyone who's watching is aware of that, but we did win our first playoff game right before the lottery started. So maybe that was a start of things to come. Then we jump from 8th to 3rd in the NBA lottery. Wait. I've been here for 15 years. Am I saying this right? We jumped up. Is that true? Like, we actually jumped up, guys. Can somebody just give me confirmation? Okay, we jumped up to number 3 overall. What does that feel like for you guys? We'll start with you, Mac. You're the guest here today. How are you feeling about all that?
I just spent 4 hours on a radio show on WFNZ talking about it. I'm still trying to make sure. Like, I just clicked on the internet. Okay, yeah, we're still 3rd in the draft order. Man, it's awesome. I've been here, Matt, about the same time frame as you, since the Bobcats started, right? So we've seen the 0 for 15 I've seen the 0 for 15 lottery streak that we have, and to see that happen last night, I think it's awesome. And I think we already have more hope as Hornets fans, right, with the way Mitch has drafted the last couple of years, with guys like Devontae emerging, with draft picks that we've seen, not just the first round, but the couple rounds, and undrafted guys as well the last couple of years. And then you throw this in. I just think it continues to give us hope as Hornets fans. And right now in a rebuild, after post Kemba, I think that's all we can ask for, is that hope.
I love the energy that he brings to this thing. I love the energy I think we're all going to bring to this one today because, hey, not many of us got much sleep, I don't think, but we're all so pumped up and so excited about what was happening. Wes, how excited were you to see us kind of make that jump up last night?
Yeah, I mean, definitely lack of sleep. It's hard for me to keep my eyes open right now, but it's full of joy and excitement. I mean, this is my first time, my first year as a full-time coordinator, but just being able to see the excitement and how fans are just really buying into this new system that James Borrego has put in place for us. And it's been a tough year overall, just for the ending of our season, just kind of, not being able to see any basketball, loving the restart of the bubble, but not being able to see the Hornets there. I know fans had a lot of questions of what should we be looking forward to going into next season. And now I think we have that. And just like Max said, just knowing the history of Mitch, having these picks almost at the 11 and 12 position, but now we're in the top 3, which makes it more exciting and playful with the guys we have in today already.
Sam, we know what Devontae had with him. We were talking about that dog tag. We're going to have to find a way to get him to put that on a keychain for the rest of the season or something like that, as well as the Kobe mask, which was great. But did you have anything for Lucky Charm yourself that, you're sitting there going, this is the year?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out, like, in hindsight. Like, what was I doing? What was I wearing? What did I have to eat? Ashley, my wife, actually watched the lottery for the first time, and she was really nervous, and she's never actually watched anything like that before. So I was like, whatever you did, figure it out. We're going to do it again next year. So it's been kind of funny looking back. But, yeah, just to kind of echo what Mac and Wes said, man, what a cool night. I mean, this has been a long year. Both for basketball-wise and real-world-wise, and to have something like this, I know it's not an actual basketball thing, but to get fans excited is just really, really cool. I'm very happy for the organization, staff, team, players, city. I mean, it's really perfect timing. We really needed something like this. We really need some good luck, and really cool how everything – and I'm still pinching myself. I can't believe it actually happened last night either.
I'm going to give a shout out to Maggie Yang, who's new on our staff, because she worked for the Memphis Grizzlies last year, and they jumped up and got Ja Morant. She works for the Hornets this year. We jumped up to 3. So we were talking before this. Maybe Maggie's the real good luck charm. We need to make sure we hang on to her as we move forward, for sure. But you guys have all brought it up. How much did this fan base really need this right now? How much do you think that the Hornets fans needed something to drive some positive momentum considering the way the season ended? Mac, what do you think?
Well, I'll take. Yeah, I mean, it's a good point about the season ending. They were rolling too at the end, and we wanted to see more of these young guys. And it stops, and then we're the first team. Hornets luck, right? First team missing the bubble, and now we're trying to figure out, okay, when can we get some training camp in so that there's not a disadvantage? I'll even take it a step farther and say the city of Charlotte is sports fans. I mean, we have two franchises that are rebuilding right now. Matter of fact, you could say, hey, the Hornets are a little ahead. Kind of. Maybe just, months ahead a little bit, a season ahead in terms of, saying goodbye to Kemba and starting over. Now the Panthers say goodbye to Cam and Olsen, a bunch of guys, and start over. I think we could use some luck, something like this as a sports town. And I never would have thought it would have came on draft night for our Hornets. But you know what, fellas? Now I know 2020 really produces some crazy stuff. And for once, the crazy stuff was good for one time.
Yeah, we said going in, everybody just needed something positive to happen. We needed something to be talking about that got us pushing in a good way after everything that's been going on in 2020. And you're right, this is the good thing for 2020. And hopefully this starts making things turn and we can start swinging in a much more positive direction. Sam, for you, I just want to ask too, it wasn't just us who were excited. We could see out on our social media platforms last night the excitement that was coming through. So for Sam and Wes, just for the Hornets, we'll start with you, Sam. What did you see on the platforms last night from the fans, and what has the overall reaction been?
I mean, it's been extraordinary. I mean, it's just like us. I mean, obviously we work for the team, but there is a huge fan component of this, job as well. We want the team to succeed. We want it to do well. It makes our jobs easier, but it's also fun. Winning is fun. That is not groundbreaking news, but it's just really cool. Like I said, it's been a tough year. There's a lot going on right now, not getting into the bubble. Kemba leaving last year, he's a really important part of this organization and understandably left. But, just to have this moment where to be in the conversation of okay, we're going to get something really good happen to the team for the first time in a while. I think it just gives people hope. And this team means a lot to people in this community. It really does. I think there's a lot of history to it. And I think people are kind of itching for that to come back. And this is hopefully a big step in the direction to getting to that point.
Yeah, we've reached out to our fans on Greenfly asking them to share their responses after the lottery. And I know my inbox has been blowing up since last night in terms of the amount of responses we need. And our guys are going to put something together on that. But we saw the reaction video that our video crew put together last night. Wes, overall, positive response all around overwhelmingly, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's phenomenal. It's great. I mean, it's just great to see all the words that we can use in the positive aspect to show that our fans are now excited for some. I'm not saying they weren't excited before, but it's just great to see that we have something to look forward to. Me, before I even accepted this job, I did attend the 2016 playoff game, Game 3, and I remember that energy in the building. I was also in the building for 2010, the Game 3 matchup when Raymond Felton had the and-1 to put Dwight Howard on the bench. I was there with my father at both of those experiences. So we were waiting for that opportunity to bring that energy back in the building. The fan base has always been here ready to cheer on their Hornets. Last year, it was just a little different messaging with Kemba leaving, and fans just didn't really know what to expect from this team. And then moving into now, when before the season, JB talked about the 4 pillars and how we were looking to build on, into a new direction. And we had a lot of new faces with this team. And then as the season moved forward, we started to put the right positions in the right places and start to build momentum and chemistry. And then unfortunately, the season ended. But I know the fans are ready to erupt and bring that energy back to Spectrum Center.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what this next piece is. But, Mac, you've been talking to the fans all morning long. Obviously, you've had your show on FNZ. What's been the response overall, and what have you noticed from the fans?
Yeah, it's definitely been interesting, and it's funny, Wes brought up that 2016 playoff series, and the infamous Game 6, purple shirt guy. We won't get it. Let's not get into all that. But we had a fan today that said, this is the most excited I've been about this team since that series, and it just – that says something, there's a feeling that, hey, maybe things are turning here for this team. And that's certainly good to feel. As far, you know how it is with fans, though, whether we're drafting 3rd or drafting 9th, 10th, or, wherever we're unfortunately used to drafting, they're not going to agree. And that's the beauty of it, so everybody has their opinions. I think kind of the sexy picks are the young kind of upside guys, and I personally want to swing for the fences and go for young upside guys. So you're talking about guys, that either spent 1 year in college like a Wiseman out of Memphis or a guy like, Edwards out of Georgia, or you're talking about LaMelo Ball, who, Lord knows, he's polarizing. You just say his name here in Charlotte, and you'll have people with opinions about his dad and keep his dad away from Charlotte, and then his jump shot, his brother's jump shot. But let's face it, it's a more fun conversation to have when you feel like you're up there in the mix and you have a chance at getting one of the elite talents.
All right, you've opened that door, so we're going to walk through it because we know we can't, but we know you can. Talk to us a little bit about those top 3 guys that you're looking at in the lottery. Everyone's kind of put those names out there. What do you think about those 3 players and how they would fit with this team?
Well, I love the fact that they're all guys that, are upside guys. We have guys on this team that, to me, are really solid and really steady, but do we have that dude on the team yet? I would argue maybe we don't. We have some very good support players, but I'd like to try to find a chance to get that guy. And if you could get a LaMelo Ball to fall to us, he's a big 6'7" guard. He's a point guard, but I feel like with his size, he could guard the big, the big guards and could play alongside Devontae. We've been dying for that scorer on the wing for years, and Anthony Edwards out of Georgia feels like he has the ability to be that sort of guy. And then as far as Wiseman goes, he would be my least favorite of the 3 because I just don't know there's a lack of polish offensively, but he blocks shots, he plays the pick and roll, he runs the floor. And this just in, we all know center is something that could be needed. An athletic center, right, is really needed. So those 3 guys right there, I think they could all fit. Then you got the matter of we get there on draft night and we got to root for, okay, who does Minnesota take? Who does Golden State take? But, heck, just one of those 3 guys alone, I think you're getting a guy with some fun upside.
Yeah, it's a problem I'm not upset to have at this point in time by any stretch of the imagination. But I can go to Sam and Wes now and ask them just talk about – Mac hit on something in terms of team needs, in terms of looking at center, looking at positions. Wes, what do you look at this team and say, hey, this is an opportunity to really fill a need here? What are some of the team needs that you think this team has?
Well, guys who could pretty much complement what we already have in place with our guys, just not stepping on anyone's toes, being able to buy into the system and the development process, and just being able to have that great chemistry with our guys. I mean, at this draft, like you said, it's not a bad problem to have because in this draft we have a player that we can pick who can possibly play 2 or 3 positions, and there's not much of pressure coming into our team where you just have to have an immediate impact. Where JB is okay with bringing in someone to be able to develop and to fit in this system. If that person has to take some time to be able to build a few games, to be able to work with this team, we're okay with that. But, anything will help to be able to complement our staff for sure.
What about you, Sam? Where do you think this team could address some needs, obviously, with this pick?
Yeah, I think, I definitely see, Mitch talking on his call last night. I mean, it's all about just adding talent. There's never an issue with having too much talent on the team. And I think one of the things about the NBA is from year to year, obviously you want guys to progress forward, but you don't know what's going to happen. Injuries happen. Some guys come out of nowhere. We didn't expect Devontae to do the jump that he did this year. And so that kind of changes sort of like your guard future. So I think it's all about just adding talent. And I think you do factor a little bit of need in there, but it's just one part of the decision. Obviously, I think the center, just because you have 2 expiring free agents, just to see how that's going to work out, is that going to influence your decision? And then wing depth as well, I think, is you can never have too many good wings, especially ones that can play, that can shoot and play defense. So, but those are kind of the 2 areas right now, I think, maybe on the first and foremost, when you look at the roster as a whole, those are kind of the 2 most glaring areas.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Mitch was very open last night to say this team isn't ready to draft just for need. We have to fill talent first. Mac, you got to agree with that standpoint with where this team is right now, right? We just want to keep adding good players to this young core.
2 guys that are pretty talented, that I'm curious to see, do they get talked about for number 3? That would kind of be in a logjam maybe at the forward spots. Would be Denny Avia from Israel, who is a forward, little 4/3, and then I think Obi Toppin. I think you would wonder, would those guys be redundant with Bridges and P.J. Washington? But if you listen to what Mitch is saying, if he feels like one of those guys is the most talented guy on the board, I don't think he's going to let that stop him, and we'll sort it out. Worst case scenario, you end up with 3 forwards. One of them becomes an asset that you use maybe to get something else down the line.
Yeah, and as you said, since we've had Mitch on this team as our general manager, as our president of basketball operations, he has instilled a confidence in our fan base just looking at what he's done over the course of the last 2 years. To hit on Miles, to hit on PJ as lottery picks, and then to hit on those second-round picks and Devontae and Cody Martin, and Jalen McDaniels. These are all – he's nailed it. He's 5 for 5 right now in terms of what you're looking at on this roster. How much confidence does that give you, Wes, in Mitch as we move forward in making this pick?
I just want to first say, in Mitch, I trust. And that's just something I'm definitely going to stick with. Like you said, he's 5 for 5. And to be able to find some of these guys, Devontae Graham from Kansas, Miles from Michigan State, PJ coming from Kentucky, these guys were stars at these big prominent programs, and they're well respected across the college basketball world. So to bring these guys together and then to figure out, well, how are they going to work together? They're both were the alpha males at their own schools, but just to see them come in, and they're great friends off the court as well. We've seen that time in and time out, that these guys really enjoy playing with each other. So I do trust that Mitch is going to make the right pick, and we're in a comfortable position at the top 3 position to be able to, bring someone in who can fit in with these guys for sure.
What about you, Sam? How have you enjoyed watching Mitch make his moves as we've seen the last 2 to 3 years?
Well, it's been fun. You always feel like he's not afraid to do things. He's not reckless. And I think the way his first draft was a little bit different because you had a team that was looking to go to the playoffs. And then his second one, you had a little bit more of a feel that it might be a developmental situation. So the draft strategy, I think, has been a little bit different. We forget there's still picks coming in from a trade that he made to get Miles Bridges. When we trade back to get Miles Bridges, they have the 32nd overall pick this year, and they get another one next year from the Clippers. So that sort of lottery pick in itself is still, paying dividends. Like, we won't know until for a couple of years how that works out. But yeah, like I said, it's really, you talk about building this young core, and it started as one thing, and it just felt like throughout last year we just kept adding guys to it. We added, okay, Cody Martin is something. Okay, Jalen McDaniels, wow, he could be something. Caleb Martin, and the core just keeps kind of getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And now it's feels like it's 6 or 7 guys now. Devontae too. No one really expected him to make that jump. So now adding this guy, plus you've got a very early second rounder, and then another one at the end of the second round coming up. It's he's done an extraordinary job. He loves this stuff. He loves the grind of scouting and analyzing players. His track record speaks himself. So yeah, like Wes said, we're in great hands.
And you're right. The core does seem to keep growing and growing and growing with the pieces that are starting to come into place. Mac, I want to ask you, in a situation like this, if you're a top 3 draft pick coming in, wouldn't you rather come to a team like this that likes to get up and down the court, is built with a bunch of young guys already, and you can kind of fit in maybe earlier and find your role?
Y'all saw it, man. This is a fun team. It's a fun team to watch. It was a fun team to watch grow. And I really feel, again, those big 3, and I know they were highlighted by Jay Billis last night too on the draft lottery show as the 3 that stick out to him in Wiseman, Edwards, and Ball. I think they all would fit in that sort of style, right, where you wanted to get up and down the floor. So the thought of adding one of those guys to the mix, I think, is really exciting. I think next year, is it next year or this year? I don't even know what we're supposed to call the upcoming season. I'm so confused. But, man, I think things are headed in the right direction as far as the Hornets go, and I can't wait to see what happens next. And that's a good feeling, that anticipation as a fan, to finally have something to anticipate is a good feeling.
Yeah, I think we've all expressed that excitement throughout this show, and this is just going to be something that carries on starting from last night. Wes, make sure you get some sleep today at some point in time. We need to make sure that everybody's still rested up, because we're going to keep pumping stuff out on Hornets.com throughout our social outlets, and tickets are still available. If you guys want to make sure you hop on to Hornets.com, see what you can find on there, and reserve your tickets now. We're excited about this season. We are pumped about this season. I am thrilled that I had the opportunity to talk to all 3 of you this morning. I think it's been absolutely awesome, and I can't wait to see where things go from here. Thank you all for joining this edition of the Reporters Square Table, presented by LendingTree, the Lottery Edition. For Sam, for Wes, for Mac, I'm Matt Roczynski with Hornets.com.